Today I'm talking about menopause and sleep. Alright, menopause and sleep. The two don't normally go together, do they? When we're in menopause, we're like, oh, what's the top complaint that I hear from ladies when they're in menopause? Oh, sleep interruption. So I'm going to be digging into that today, and I'm going to be giving you 10 quick, simple tips that you can start instigating right away to improve your sleep. So before I go on, if you're new to my channel, I'm Sophie, hello. I'm a board certified nutritionist, I'm a menopause expert, and I have actually been through menopause myself, weathered the storm. For the last 10 years, I went into menopause when I was 50 and I'm almost 60 now. Feel better than I did when I was in my 30s. And I've helped hundreds of women to align their health and wellness so that they also have mitigated the symptoms of menopause, because I am a strong believer that you can live the best version of you, and that is absolutely available to you in menopause and beyond. And that's what I'm passionate about showing women how to do. So if you're not getting enough sleep, then it's going to be an uphill battle. So getting enough sleep, obviously, if you're sleep deprived, if you're in sleep debt, it affects absolutely every area of your life, which is why I want to give you these 10 tips. But sleep is just one of the 5 topics, the 5 areas that I address when it comes to living the best version of you. It starts in perimenopause and goes all the way through. It's just one of 5 important areas, 5 important topics. And I am going to be covering all these topics in my upcoming Menopause Makeover free 90-minute workshop on Wednesday, the 29th of May, 2024 at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you're watching this video before then there's a link where you can register for free in the description to this video. If you're watching this video after the fact, there is a link, you are completely covered, where you can watch the replay, and that link is also in the description to this video. So either way, you are covered. I am going to be going over the all areas that pertain to your way of navigating and living your life to the fullest through the natural and holistic lifestyle practices that I am going to teach you and that I coach my clients on how to do. All right, so let's jump in with tip number 1. So tip number 1, cool your bedroom. Can't say it any other way. All sleep experts agree 65 degrees Fahrenheit is the perfect temperature for getting a really good night's sleep. But this is even more important when you are in menopause, because obviously your body temperature changes. The drop in estrogen and progesterone instigates all these different changes, weight gain and mood swings and brain fog and hot flashes and body temperature changes. So very often at night, that's when it really hits, doesn't it? I don't know if any of you have experienced it, but you're hot and then you're cold and you're flinging your blankets off. And even if you're not having hot flashes, you might be having these temperature changes at night. So dial down the temperature, 65 degrees. When I first did that, my husband was like, it is absolutely freezing in here. I said, yeah, I know, but that's what it needs to be. And of course, he's getting a better night's sleep as well. But one thing I just want to add here is, don't think that you've got to turn the heating down or the thermostat down and then just have a little sheet over you, because then you're going to be feeling a little bit off and then you'll get cold, you'll get chilly in the night. What I personally love to do is I like to use quite a heavy blanket. I actually have a weighted blanket that I really love, because when you are feeling a little bit more anxious, maybe you worry a little bit more, you're sleeping lighter, feeling anything that you can do to soothe yourself, to feel really grounded and soothed and secure is going to be very, very helpful. So a heavier blanket or a weighted blanket is soothing and it is grounding, and you can just slide it off if you're getting a little bit too hot. So highly recommend cool your bedroom, and perhaps consider a heavier blanket or a weighted blanket that can easily be removed. Tip number 2 is reduce sodium and salt. Now, this is surprising. A lot of women say to me, well, I need to stop drinking so much liquid before I go to bed. But even more important is actually reducing the amount of sodium and salt that you consume really throughout the day, but particularly at dinner time. 75% of sodium is found in packaged food, any kind of packaged food, but also be very careful because restaurant food and home delivery food, anything that you're not cooking in your kitchen, is typically extremely high in sodium and salt. And then you may, if you're cooking at home, salt your food. I really recommend not doing that because then your kidneys have to work very, very hard at night. And your kidneys working very hard at night is going to result in you having to have a lot more bathroom breaks. And as you probably know, particularly if you are in perimenopause, which generally starts in your early 40s, so pay attention to all these tips, particularly if you're in your early 40s, because you can nip a lot of this in the bud by developing these really supportive lifestyle habits. But, as you know, of those of you who are in menopause, when you wake up to go to the bathroom at night, right, then it's really hard to go back to sleep. So we want to minimize those bathroom breaks all the way through the night. Tip number 3 is to eliminate or minimize alcohol use. So a lot of the time we think, well, having a couple of glasses of wine or a cocktail just knocks me out, and women typically in menopause have imbalanced cortisol levels, meaning you want your cortisol to be lower at night. This is a lot of the work that I do with my clients, but it tends to be higher. You're stressed out, you're burned out, you can't turn your mind off, you can't switch your mind off. That is indicative of higher cortisol levels. And so some women think, the only way I can sort of chill out and knock myself out is to have, a couple of glasses of whatever. But the problem is that it actually has the reverse effect. And actually having any amount of alcohol in the evening leads to a way worse night's sleep. And when we're in menopause, we metabolize alcohol very, very differently. So what you used to maybe be okay for you in your 30s, even your early 40s, is very likely not going to. It's not going to work when you drink alcohol, you wake up with a puffy face, you have ruddiness, puffiness in your face, never mind the fact that it raises your risk of breast cancer and a host of other issues. So just honestly best to start finding other ways to chill out and to release. With my clients, we always talk about learning how to meet your needs for comfort and release at a higher level. Okay, tip number 4, is to set your melatonin clock. So I used to recommend melatonin supplements, and I really don't anymore, because your body, if supported properly, will release naturally melatonin. It's that little gland in your brain called the pineal gland, but you need to support that gland to be able to naturally release melatonin. How do you do that? It really starts in the morning when you set your melatonin clock. You do that by getting as much daylight in your eyes first thing in the morning. I say to my clients, daylight before screen light. Get that daylight in the retina of your eye. That sets your circadian rhythms for the day. And then at the end of the day, you need to dial down the artificial light as much as is humanly possible. That's not just screen light. You've heard backlit screens, TV, devices, etc. But it's also all the lighting in your home, all incandescent light. Turn it down. Put it all on dimmer switches. You need to really, really take the light down. And if you have to look at a screen or you're watching TV, then I recommend you maybe invest in a pair of light blocking glasses. There's lots of different ones on the market now. You can research that. It will make a huge difference. Okay, tip number 5 is deal with sleep interruptions. So what I recommend you do is think really carefully about who and what interrupts your sleep at night. Aside from bathroom breaks, we've already talked about that. But you really want to think about is it pets? Do you have pets on the bed, in the bedroom? Maybe kids or other people in your home that interrupt your sleep, come in really late, ask for your help really late after you've gone to bed, wake you up really early. Maybe it's a partner, who snores or who comes to bed and watches TV, in the bedroom. You need to really look at that, because this is your sleep. This is the most important thing. You're not going to be a better wife, a better mother, a better sister, a better co-worker if you're not getting 7 to 9 hours sleep every single night. So a lot of the work that I do with my clients is actually around really looking at that and creating healthy boundaries. Maybe it's a difficult conversation that you have to have with somebody. This is the support that I need. Maybe the pets need to be moved out of the bedroom and crate trained. Maybe the husband, the spouse, needs to be trained. No, I'm being silly, but seriously, maybe there is a conversation that needs to be had. Boundaries need to be set about what you need to support a really good night's sleep. And even if that results in maybe, sleeping in a different room, if snoring really, really disturbs you. So, there's a lot more to it than this. I could do a whole video on. But what I want you to do now, after you've watched this video, is write down, have a really good look at what are the things, the people, pets and things, noises that disturb me. Because once you are disturbed, it might be really hard for you to get back to sleep. You need really deep sleep, okay? Deep, restorative 7 to 9 hours sleep. All right, tip number 6 is design your environment. So design your bedroom to make it fit for the queen that you are. My clients, we often talk about, and we focus on what is their future dream self, this version of themselves that honors herself, that version of you that honors herself, that takes care of herself, that puts her needs first, that what does that version of you, what does her bedroom look like? Is it messy? Is it cluttered? Is it, too much light pouring in through certain, cracks in the drapes or the blinds? What is her nightstand? That this version of you that you aspire to and that you can and will become, and you need to really focus on that version of you. What is her nightstand? Does she have, some really lovely books on her nightstand? A glass of water in a beautiful glass, maybe a humidifier with essential oils. Just think about creating this environment that not only is conducive to sleep, that is also an environment that really honors you. Maybe there's a yoga mat, if you have room in your bedroom, that's unfurled. So before you go to bed, that you've set up your environment for success. Maybe you do a couple of really gentle restorative yoga poses and a little bit of breathing before you get into bed. So all of this is really about setting up your environment for sleep success. All right, tip number 7 is very much stacking on the last tip, is write a to-do list and or journal before you go to bed. The reason for this is that if you have a to-do list that's in your head, then when you get into bed, particularly if you have high cortisol levels, that to-do list is just going to be going over and over in your head if you haven't written it down, and you're going to start worrying and thinking, oh my gosh, there's this thing that I've got to remember to do tomorrow. I've got to get out of bed, write it down. Give yourself a dedicated time. So it could be, okay, after I've had my nice hot bath, or before I shut down my office, or when I'm doing my journaling, even journaling in bed, I'm going to make sure that I have a really solid, comprehensive to-do list with my personal to-dos, my work to-dos, and I'm just going to pour that out of my head and onto paper. It'll be such a sense of relief to you, and it's going to help you sleep better. I'm also a huge advocate of doing a little bit of journaling before you go to bed. You could do that at the same time. Maybe as part of your environment, you have a beautiful journal by your bed where you're doing some gratitude journaling, looking at what you did during the day, self-reinforcing, celebrating your wins during the day, and maybe even writing an affirmation that takes you into a really good night's sleep. So those are things that are really important to set up set yourself up to get a really, really good night's sleep, and dialing down the cortisol and not worrying so much. All right, we're almost there. Tip number 8 is resistance training. So All of these tips that I'm giving you all feed into one another. As you can see, and you'll watch some of my other videos, and I encourage you to do, everything that I teach you and I coach you about is about creating this really comprehensive, holistic lifestyle change that encompasses all areas of your life. So fitness and exercise is a really big part of what I teach because it affects everything. But in terms of sleep, if you are exercising more, particularly if you are doing resistance training 3 times a week and taking your muscles to fatigue by way of heavy lifting, you're going to be tired. It releases endorphins, feel-good chemicals in your brain. Done at the right time of day, it's going to also draw down your, help to regulate your cortisol release, and you're just going to be tired, plain tired. A lot of women in menopause, we haven't got time to exercise, we're too tired to exercise, so it's a sort of vicious cycle. So you don't want to just go all in, like I'm absolutely exhausted and tired and now I'm going to pick up weights, because I want you to do it safely, I don't want you to hurt yourself. We need to meet you where you are and build your way up to it. But resistance and strength training absolutely is going to lead over time with the other exercises that you need to be doing. You need to be exercising every single day, no matter what. You could take 1 day off of rest for rest and restoration. So 6 days a week, you need to be exercising probably way more than you are in order to get a really good night's sleep. Tip number 9 is to adopt a dietary pattern which is going to be largely a whole food plant-based dietary pattern that is very low in fat, particularly saturated fat, high in healthy whole food plant-based fats that are really important for your brain, high in antioxidants, high in readily absorbable forms of calcium. So that is absolutely the way to go. It's going to, I can just not say it any other way, it's going to make you feel lighter, it's going to improve your digestion, and you are going to get a better night's sleep. And I'm going into that in way more detail in my masterclass, which you can attend, as I've already said, or you can watch the replay below. And finally, tip number 10 is to take magnesium. So I do recommend taking magnesium, a magnesium supplement. Magnesium threonate is the one that I recommend about 60 minutes before you go to bed, and or have a really nice hot bath and fill it with Epsom salts or magnesium flakes and soak in that bath. That's going to just soothe you, it's going to relax you, you absorb the magnesium through your skin into your body. That's one of my favorite things for getting a really deep night's sleep. Okay, finally, I just wanted to very quickly touch, because I know there could be some comments about HRT, and I will cover that in or will have covered it in my Menopause Makeover Masterclass. But all this to say that there is a place for hormone replacement therapy for some women who have extremely interrupted sleep, and no matter what you do, it's just really, really hard for you. So it's a sort of, it depends on so many different things, but suffice to say, it may be a good option for you and is something that you would want to obviously discuss with your healthcare provider, your OBGYN and your doctor, find out what your options are, what aligns for you and what is safe for you. So lots more to get into in this whole topic of menopause. So whether you're in perimenopause, which could be as early as your 40, you just turned 40, your early 40s, some women even late 30s, you know, come on board and join my masterclass, because you'll learn so much that could literally prevent many of these symptoms from happening in the first place. I wish I had known when I was 40 what I know now. And if you're postmenopausal, come on in, because we can show you how to minimize these symptoms and absolutely live your best and healthiest life in the next chapter of your life. So I hope to see you there and in some of my other videos. Thank you for watching.